What the hey, MegaPodTastic's Krazy Joe, and today I'm going to talk to you about Bumblebee. The trailer for Bumblebee was released today. I watched that trailer. Little history. I saw two, and only two, of the current crop of Transformers movies. The original, which I saw in the theater twice, and I didn't like it either time. The reason I went back is because everyone I know really liked it. And in the summer of '07, people kept saying, oh, Transformers was great, Transformers was great. And I went and saw it and I didn't care for it. And then I started thinking to myself, maybe I missed something. Maybe I gotta see it again. Maybe there was something about that movie that I just didn't click. So I was living in Pennsylvania in the early summer of '07 when the movie came out. And I saw it in Pennsylvania. As the year 2007 went on, it became obvious that for reasons I'm not going to get into here, I needed to pick up and move to Arizona. So in August of '07, I found myself on a trip to Arizona, a state where I had no friends. I got lots of friends there now, but at the time I knew nobody in the state of Arizona, and I was alone in a strange place. Didn't know any of the people. For a weekend, I was there for a job interview, and I ended up getting that job. But I had just flown to town for the weekend to have this job interview on a Friday. If I got the job, I was going to pick up and be moving. Well, job interview I have on Friday. Friday night rolls around. I'm in a strange town, know nobody. I'm all alone. Nobody went on this trip with me. I decided to go see a movie. And Transformers was showing at the theater closest to where I was. So I said, okay, this is my opportunity. I'll go give Transformers a second shot, because everyone I know is saying it's great. It could have been state of mind I was in the first time I saw it. Watched it a second time, I still did not like it. But I was a fan of the toys, I was a fan of the cartoon growing up. Loved the '85 movie, the animated movie. So I wasn't ready to write off the franchise yet. Transformers 2 comes out. Second Michael Bay movie. And I didn't get to it in the theater, but I decided to rent it on Redbox one night. Watched it. I did not like it at all. I don't think anybody liked that one. Whereas the first movie had its defenders, I don't think anybody defended the second one. So I start thinking to myself, this franchise under Michael Bay just isn't for me. Transformers 3 comes out a couple years later. Friends I know who liked the first one told me, it's crap, don't bother. So I didn't bother. Now, in yesterday's video where we talked about Solo, I mentioned how the people boycotting Solo because they didn't like The Last Jedi were incredibly illogical, because it was a different set of filmmakers who worked on Solo. It was not the same filmmakers who worked on The Last Jedi. Well, the difference with Transformers was each of the 5 films that has been out so far has been directed by Michael Bay. And a good portion of them have been written by the same guys, Alex Kurtzman and Roberto Orci, same guys who wrote Star Trek Into Darkness that I didn't like, and Aaron Kruger. These same names have popped up. They may not have written all 5 of them, but they've written a good portion of the 5 Michael Bay Transformer movies. So, unlike where I was saying yesterday about how you shouldn't punish a franchise because you didn't like one film when different filmmakers are attached, these were the same filmmakers. So I felt very comfortable just walking away and saying what they're doing with Transformers, not for me. That brings us to Bumblebee, trailer hit today. I was excited for Bumblebee. It was the first movie in this Transformers franchise that Michael Bay has nothing to do with. Actually, I don't know. Maybe he's a producer. But he didn't direct it. That's the important thing. He can produce till his heart's content as long as he's not the director. I'll check it out. Because Michael Bay actually produced the Ninja Turtle movies that came out a couple years ago, and they were really good. They were very faithful to the Ninja Turtles in many, many ways. So as a producer, he's not that bad. Just make sure someone who knows what they're doing is directing, writing the script, whatever. There's a lot of noise behind me. Big trucks. I apologize for that. So the director of Kubo and the Two Strings animated film, stop motion animated film, was announced to be the director for Bumblebee. And I was very happy. Kubo and the Two Strings, perfectly okay. I didn't love it. A lot of people really like that. I'm a fan of animated films. I'm especially a fan of stop motion. I love stop motion animation. But Kubo, I didn't love Kubo. Didn't hate Kubo. It was just okay. But I was excited to see what the director of Kubo was going to do with Bumblebee. It's a prequel set in the 1980s. Bumblebee was going to be a Volkswagen Beetle, like in the cartoon, and the original toy line. So I thought, okay, this gives us a real good opportunity to kind of reboot the franchise. New director, new timeline, new design for the character. So I was excited. For the first time since '07, I was actually excited to see what was going to become of a Transformers movie. Well, today, trailer hit. I sat down, I'm like, ooh, goody, Bumblebee trailer. Let's watch this. And my heart sank as soon as I saw that Bumblebee still cannot speak. Back in the '07 movie, they said Bumblebee had done something, damaged his voice box, so he was incapable of speaking, and he communicated through songs on the radio, which was something that did not work at all for me. I thought that was kind of a dumb plot point. I didn't care for it. So prequel, if just prior to the first Transformers movie he had damaged his voice box, logically speaking, in the mid-80s, his voice box should be fine. It hasn't yet been damaged. So I'm thinking, oh good, we're going to get something more like the cartoon. Bumblebee's going to speak. He's going to be a Volkswagen Beetle. No. Bumblebee still can't speak in the movie. He's still incapable of speaking, which begs the question, how long prior to that first movie did he break his voice box? How come nobody has been able to repair his voice box in like 30 years? It's disappointing. This was an opportunity to reboot the series in a way, reboot it within continuity without just like throwing everything out and saying that didn't happen. They had a chance here, and if it was successful and if people liked it, they could have followed it up with Bumblebee 2 or done a Transformers prequel set in the 80s. Any number of possibilities was open to them, but I feel from that trailer like we're getting more of the same, and I was disappointed. Now, the fact that Bumblebee can't speak in the movie does not mean that by definition it can't be a good movie. They could do something really fun with it. It could be entertaining, and I still will probably check the movie out in the theater when it comes out, which is something I have not done for a Transformers movie since '07. But I will give this new director a fair shake and see if this is a Transformers movie more to my liking than any of the Michael Bay movies were. But I am extremely disappointed that Bumblebee still cannot speak. I think that was a dumb creative move. Very disappointing. What can you do? So, whereas I was on the verge of being like very excited for a new direction to the Transformers movies, my excitement is very, very tempered now. I'm still going to give it a shot, but it's not at the level it was prior to seeing that trailer. So there you go. Those are my thoughts on the Bumblebee trailer. And a lot of wind. Keep on wearing those pajamas.